Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Guide Chat. My name is Jake, and thank you for joining on this week's weekly reading. And if you're new here, I do weekly readings mainly on current events, so feel free to hit that subscribe button so you can catch every week my readings, as well as you can leave comments about a question you want me to ask for future readings. So thank you. And thank you for those who continue to share my videos, continue to be part of this light worker community. I really appreciate it, and it really helps out the channel as well as growing this community, right? All right. Before we begin today, because as always, there's always so much stuff to cover in this. Last week's last week, when we were talking about the orange one's health, it's been interesting to see that we've seen many surrogates from the administration come out and talk most of the time, increasingly a lot more as we continue on, especially this year compared to previous years. And not that the orange one hasn't come out and spoke or hasn't shown his face, it's just a lot less than in previous. So the health checks, if you haven't seen the video last week, go look at it, and it's just going to be increasingly more of a concern as we move forward. All right, so Tuesday was another string of primaries. I believe it was New York, Maryland, Utah. I might be missing another state. And one thing that was major is that Mayor Mamdani of New York, which I've read about very long time ago, about that he has a very bright future, and he has the candidates he have endorsed in New York in the primaries for Congress won their primaries, and two of those races Democratic incumbents lost in their primaries. And the thing about that, before the primaries, I noticed, and of course it's happened in between the two videos, is that that mainstream media, like the New York Times, USA Today, both mentioned the DSA as in articles, which is the first time, because DSA, first of all, means Democrat Socialist Association. So this is not a political party. It's a nonprofit organization. They consider themselves, and they endorse candidates. And there is definitely a movement and a significance where mainstream media is catching on to the DSA and even mentioning them by name as not like, oh, this is a Democratic Socialist and just move on from it. That this is a movement. And I want to see if this is just a flash in the pan thing or this is a significant thing. And let me tell you something before I do this reading, is that a little bit of, I've mentioned this before, I come from a background in political science. That's not what I do for a living, but I studied this in school. And one thing that's about the current events is that I noticed with individuals, it's not necessarily that they're for the movement. I think overall that people are tired of the status quo of obviously the MAGA movement that's going on, the status quo of even the corporate Democrats that are there. People are wanting something different. People who are backing up what they're saying and wanting to focus on the voters, the bread and butter issues that they called it back in the day, and that kind of went away when money got involved in politics to the extent it has. And these individuals who are part of the DSA or even the progressive branch that aren't necessarily associated with the DSA have saying, we're not going to accept corporate money. We're not going to accept this type of money and stuff like that. It doesn't mean necessarily individuals are all for this movement, but they're definitely for a lot of these policies that are being focused to like, hey, these are issues that I've been caring about for a long time, and I haven't heard the current establishment, whether Republican or Democrat, focusing on this. So With all that being said, let's see if the DSA will continue over the next few elections, will have a larger influence within the Democratic Party. So, Spirit, will the DSA have a stronger influence on the Democratic Party over the next few elections? Well, we're starting out right now with the Sun card. This is currently the DSA has they're the rising sun. This is their time. Okay, what's the obstacle is the tower, personal transformation. There are people. Right now, we're seeing the DSA movement in larger cities, but the question is, are they going to be overall? And this is talking about the present moment. So there is a block where people are scared of change and of the unknown, right? When it if the tower was upright, we would have said that this is an inevitable change. But right now, this is an obstacle for the DSA candidates. What's the foundation of this reading? This is the Six of Cups. This is about nostalgia of things that what I just mentioned before, the bread and butter issues that were talked about before. They want they, as in the voters, want to hear this, and they are hearing this. In the past, we had the hangman, meaning that I mean, what I'm feeling is two different ways. Is that what I'm getting is from the voter side that they feel stuck, like things are being delayed, like progress is being delayed. But it also viewed from the other flip side of the meaning of the hangman in the past is that people are changing, looking at things in a different way. Okay. And here we have another great card, the Wheel of Fortune, the karmatic turn for the good for them. And in the near future, the death card. And this is not necessarily what I'm getting is not necessarily the death card for the DSA. This is meaning for the status quo, the death card in transformation. Because here we go, Ace of Cups. This is the feelings of a new proposal that the DSA is going. Also, with the cups, this means that this is going to take longer, so it's not going to be a sweeping movement, which in the long run, when they're sweeping movements, they don't last as long as a slow moving one. So this is still a good, even though it takes time, this is a good card that's showing that this democratic socialist movement is a slow but lasting movement. Okay, the environment from the outside. This is really attracting a lot of the young people with the Page of Swords. This movement, which going back to what I just said about the longevity, if it's affecting younger people, it will carry on, continue to carry on. In hopes and fears, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the tangible thing, right? The money, the financial aspect, bread and butter issues again. But it's going to be hard work. It's not going to be, again, with the cups, it's going to be a long thing, hard work. But then they will become more disciplined. If I look at the bottom of the deck, and we have the voters here. So I would say what the cards are saying, it is a long-lasting movement. It's not going to be a sweeping movement, but definitely will have an impact over the next elections. And a follow-up question that I have is, will the DSA eventually become a political party? Because as I said at the beginning, they're not a political party. They are just on their own. So I kind of want to see if the movement's going to be strong enough that they can hold their own party. So in essence, if the DSA becomes a party, they would be more of a leftist party, and the current Democrat would probably be viewed as a more leftist center party. So let's look at if in the future, and I'm not talking about necessarily near future, but sometime in the future, will the DSA eventually become their own political party? Will the DSA their own political party? Okay. They are going to have a lot of donors. Okay, this is going in as grassroots donors, by the way, what I'm getting with the King of Pentacles. Seven of Cups are crossing this. There are there is going to be the obstacle is trying to be organized, right? How they want to be organized, what they represent, because there is a lot of different viewpoints currently under the DSA. They're going to be worried about going from this to that because that's a huge step forward, okay? With the Nine of Swords. But they are collaborating right now. In the past, the Three of Pentacles, there are talks going on, even though this is in the past, we're talking about the future, but in the past, when you're talking about future events, usually for me, that means that they're talking about it right now. There's individuals talking about it right now. Eight of Cups is crowning this reading. So there is going to be some kind of disappointment getting this off the ground. But there is hope in the near future with the Star card, which is good, in new beginnings. So they might, like I said, they are trying to figure out their footing, but it looks like they're going to get organized. And whoops, I got the Knight of Swords, fast moving, which is fast moving out of my hand. So Knight of Swords jumping out there. So that's telling from the outside in. So this is going to be a speedy movement. They worry about the Ten of Swords, that they're going to be fast moving and then a collapse. But in the end, it looks like they are going to be with the Queen of Cups. Maybe there's a female individual that takes the helm of this party. So I would say yes down the road. Doesn't mean I don't foresee it anytime soon, but this is definitely in the future. We probably will see the DSA eventually becoming a party, maybe the DSP. Okay, let's move on from that. We'll go back to some domestic things. There is one international question I have about the Keir Starmer, who recently resigned. He's the UK Prime Minister. I did mention a while ago that he was eventually going to leave. Not right away, but eventually he was going to resign. So they haven't had the PM election yet, but the person, I think he's the only person that has actually put his hat in the ring is a man by the name of Andy Burnham. So as of right now, as of this recording on Thursday, the 25th, I believe he's the only person in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's okay. Let's see if he does become Prime Minister Spirit. Does he do well? Because the former Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, was doing a lot of wrong things, including putting people in his cabinet in the Epps files, and it was a disaster. So let's Andy Burnham. Will he do well if he's the next Keir? Just making sure I didn't grab two. So what's going to happen there's a lot of hard work because there's a lot of a mess that's going on that he's going to have to take care of. The Ten of Wands. The Nine of Swords is crossing this. There's a lot of inner turmoil, and I feel like this is within the Labour Party. There's a lot, and I'm not very familiar with UK politics, so if there's any international people out there, let me know. So I feel like there's a lot of inner turmoil within the party, okay? But he has the foundation, he has the backing of a lot of the wealthy with the King of Pentacles there. In the past, we have the Fool card. They see him as someone stepping forward as a new beginning. I'm going to have to block the naughty bits, but the Lovers card. There is solidarity with him. coming in the near future, the Knight of Swords popping in again. He's going to be very action oriented. He's going to hit the ground running, and what comes next is the Ten of Swords, and that's not with him. I feel like he's going to really put an end to a lot of things that are going wrong with the last PM, and making a lot of changes that are going to, a lot of people are going to be the end of them. And I don't mean as in, I mean politically, from the outside. People are going to see this as an inevitable change. These changes the changes that Mr. Burnham's going to make, it has to be done quickly, and it's inevitable in order for them to maintain power and also to move forward, to have progress. The hopes and fears, this is the Knight of Cups. He's hoping to bring these. This is what I'm offering to you as the people of the UK. And yeah, he has the Ace of Cups. A lot of people are going to have positive associations with him, and it's definitely going to be a good thing. Here's the Knight of Pentacles. Typically, this is somebody that keeps a routine. This is with somebody, especially with a financial aspect. He is going to make sure to take care of the people. So, to answer this question, yes, he is going to do well if he's selected as the next Prime Minister of the UK. So that's good to hear. All right, going back to here, the first thing. Okay, so in these crazy times, not since the Epps files, the passage of the disclosure of that, have we seen such huge support for the housing bill. I know that a lot of people are hearing it's called the housing bill. Technically, it's called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. Okay, so this is the numbers. I didn't even know what the numbers were. I heard that it was a sweeping bipartisan passage, but this is how sweeping for this time period that we are in right now, okay, folks? The House passed this for 358 to 32, and in the Senate, 85 to 5. That's huge, considering all the things that have failed. This is huge, and one of the major things, because I live in a rural area, and I live in town, but my city is like 8,000 people. I've seen these bigger firms coming in and buying up property. And this was a major thing in this this act that would limit private equity firms or companies that own more than they can't own more than 350 properties. And a lot of times what these companies do, if you're not aware, they'll buy up big chunks of properties, redo the homes, and then jack up these rent prices, okay, for these homes. So that was a huge thing, besides making it easier for building new homes and things like that, buying a home. So right now, the orange one doesn't want to sign it. He was scheduled to sign it yesterday, I believe. And he said, I'm not going to sign it until you pass the SAVE Act. Okay, that's that voting, Save America Act, about the voter ID, which is kind of misleading. It's not just about voter ID. It's about, if you have a name, for especially women, if you have a name change, you have to get your birth certificate, prove your citizenship, all that jazz. But I want to see, because right now, if you don't know, this is a veto-proof bill, meaning that it's passed both chambers with over 60%. So if he vetoes it, when he says he's not going to sign it, he did not say he's vetoing this bill. So it's not failed yet. And a bill can pass within 10 days without a presidential signature. So, and I looked this up, July 6th is the day that it will become law if he does not sign it, or if he does not veto it. So how they do it is 10 days after it passes, and you skip Sundays. Okay? So that's how they figured that out. So my question is, will the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, aka the housing bill, become law? Whether it's through his signature or he just doesn't sign it. So let's see if it passes. Well, it's already passed if it becomes law. Okay. The Queen of Wands right now, this is what I'm getting, that they're very determined. Congress is very determined to get this passed. The Two of Swords presently. So there's a lot of confusion on where things are lying, which was seen yesterday. If you look at the news with the luncheon, the GOP luncheon was a disaster with Trump. But what's the foundation is the money aspect of this. The King of Pentacles. The World card comes in the path. This is an ending and a beginning of a cycle, especially this is what I'm feeling from the Congress viewpoint. There's the pause right now with the Hanged Man. This is all in the present. In the near future, there is going to be progress made on that. So we'll look and do a follow-up question. The Four of Pentacles, the saving the money, keeping the cards close. From the outside, a lot of people are wanting this done. The Ace of Wands. A lot of people are pushing, and as mainly voters right now. We're in the election year. This is going to be a big push. Eight of Pentacles and the hopes and fears, because Congress has been working very hard. If you listen on both sides, they worked with each other like they're supposed to do, which is they're acting like this is something special. But folks, this is what Congress is supposed to do. This is why we hire them, to actually work together to get something like this. So this is going to be a very heavy lifting with the Ten of Wands. Here's the Devil card, the Hermit, the Seven of Wands. What I'm getting down from this is that there's going to be a lot of pushback on this. And I'm wondering if he's going to be stupid enough and veto this, because I'm getting a lot of no cards, one after the other, after I do some clarifying. So what I'm going to say right now is that what I'm getting is there's going to be a lot of pushback on it. So we'll see how things go. And the orange one is so petty that he may force. But right now it's veto proof. But I wouldn't put past him that he'll say, well, you have to go vote again to override my veto. So go ahead, try to vote again. Let's see if it passes. But there's going to be a lot of pushback. But it might, hopefully I'm wrong, and he either signs it or that he'll wait the 10 days. So there we go. With that being said, the follow-up question is, will the Save America Act pass? Will Congress cave? And I don't foresee really Dems voting for this, but I believe the Senate, it hasn't passed the Senate. It passed the House, not the Senate. But let's see if will the Save America Act pass in order to get this housing bill. Save Act path in order to get the housing bill passed. Yeah, here we go. The voters are in center stage here with a lot of Congress. Crossing with the Ace of Pentacles. They're like the orange one. Many of them were saying that this boat has sailed already, because they're thinking about the financial losses right now. The key topic that will be in this midterm is having security financially. This was the proposal that passed in the Ace of Wands. And again, here's again, even Spirit is reiterating the financial aspect of these voters is with the Ten of Pentacles is center stage. And they're saying this is not something that people are worrying about. They're trying to say, let's use our head over our heart and be more disciplined about cutting this thing. They are weighing the options, though, trying to this is the plan B with the trying to get out of these waters. Um, their hope is to get uh, this housing bill forward in order how to get this housing bill passed, how or maybe how to get, or in other words, how to satisfy both the orange one and the voters. Here's the six of cups thinking um, about the nostalgia. Here's the where there's some kind of celebration, but there's fighting. I wonder if there's going to be a compromise bill of the SAVE Act that's going to come through. In But there's going to be a lot of. I'm sorry, I went through these kind of fast. The Five of Wands, there's going to be a lot of fighting, and then there's going to be a new proposal with the Page of Wands. So I'm thinking that this is something that I've already talked about, that there's going to be some kind of edit on this bill. So I'm wondering if they're going to make some concessions on this bill where it's going to satisfy the orange one, but not be exactly like this current form. But I guess TBD. We'll see how this goes. But what I'm getting from Spirit is that there is going to be a change in this in order for this to pass, and in order to get this housing bill to going. So we will see. Okay, where we are in time. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is remember I covered this, so I apologize if I did, but it's good to do it because it has been a while. I do keep my notes and my questions, so I haven't seen this, at least when I did a quick check in my notebook. We'll see if the Florida governor's race, because it's been getting heated up down there about the Florida governor's race. I believe it's Byron Daniels, it looks like, versus Mr. Jolly, who used to be a Republican congressman who switched to being a Democrat. So let's see if the Florida governor race will flip to the Dems come November. Will the Dems win the governor's race in November in Florida? I'm sure people down in Florida, if you're watching this would be such a happy thing to finally get rid of the supermajority, get some checks in there. No matter what party, it's always good. It always is found to be such a better thing to have a checked political system versus one party necessarily. And this is coming from somebody who leans more left. So, I mean, it's true. All right. Right now, there's a lot of soul searching with the Hermit card coming in, because they feel disappointed. That's what's being crossed with. They're feeling disappointed and cheated on from the current government that's been governing Florida for a while now. Things are coming out from underneath the surface with the Moon card, anxiety, depression with the Nine of Swords in the past, inevitable change with the Tower card. That's good to see. In the near future, Ace of Cups, proposals, new opportunities. The Star card, looking good, Florida. The Knight of Cups from the outside, proposals, new things coming to. But this is the fear. Five of Swords. Every time I read about this coming November, shenanigans always comes in with worrying about whether you could say it's not necessarily shenanigans. Could be just like being a bully, could be like manipulation, but things like that. But yeah, with the Six of Cups, that's a good sign that this is going to happen, and it's a long time coming with the Eight of Pentacles. So I'm going to say yes. These are very positive cards for the Dems in the governor race in Florida. So this doesn't mean, again, when I say these kind of things, this doesn't mean Democratic Floridians or people who plan to vote Democrat in Florida do not become complacent. Get out there, get people, rally people to go out and vote. Express your support to the candidate or candidates. But yeah, Okay. Final message. Oracle cards came out today is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. Queen of the Moon Oracle. And I love these cards. I love a lot of my cards. These ones are super pretty. And again, just if you're new here or a little refresher, I do like to do 3 cards initially and keep on going till I feel the message from Spirit has been completed. So, Spirit, just give I want a general message for the audience out there to see what is the most important message that people need to know at this moment. What will benefit the most? Not do so much jumping, all right? All right. Ooh, these are some good ones. All right. We start with self-reflection, looking within, looking what we need to do to help ourselves. Resistance. That means standing up for what's right for our own self and what's right for our neighbors, right? And this will help with attracting what we want to make of our communities, the environment around us, okay? Again, with this goes with manifestation, realization of the things you want is the key. And this is a beautiful picture of this. The key from the darkness into the key of the light of after the storm, like what we want to create. For a lot of us, this means abundance, and that can be different for everybody. Abundance of love, self-love, love for your neighbor. It could be financial, things like that. This will create nourishment. Beautiful cards, beautiful cards. And this also to keep gratitude, whether it's in a journal, whether it's speaking out loud each day. Remember to be thankful for the things that we do have, because it's not only helpful for us in here, our heart and our minds and spiritually, but it also reflects out. What we say and put out in the world comes back to us, okay? This will create some blossoming. Right now it can feel the environment and the time we're in can feel dead, but this, by doing these little things, can help blossom into something new, something beautiful, and making sure we keep our boundaries, right? Protecting ourselves. To have patience. Well, I know we've been going through a lot, but here we can see the end of this craziness, this spiral craziness here. This will lead to change in what we're going through right now. A lot of change, which can be chaotic. And this will create a release. And I'm going to stop right there. I think that's a beautiful message from Spirit, don't you? So with that being said, hit the like, subscribe, comment if you have a question about current events. Again, I appreciate every one of you who are watching. Please help me grow this community. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.